Hi everyone, it's Arlene, and it is a rainy, terrible Monday. And so I decided to make a nice pot of chicken soup with some of the leftover rotisserie chicken that I had picked up yesterday. So as you can see, it's still a ton of chicken. And I put it in cold water. I added to my pot the end of the celery, the leaves to the celery, a red onion cut up, some whole garlic cloves in the skins and everything. This is all going to be strained. So believe it or not, the peels from the onions, the peels from the garlic, everything goes in the pot because it's going to flavor it nice. I had a half of a big giant tomato left over in the refrigerator that I'm not going to be using for anything. I had some red onion chopped up in a container that I'm not going to be using. So everything's just going in the pot. Now, to my pot. Now, this is going to actually cook. I'm going to let it simmer for about 6 to 7 hours. For a very long time. It's going to give it the nice flavor that I'm going to want. So, any good chicken soup should have thyme in it. When I worked in the deli, the first deli I ever worked in, his name was Frank Minutello at Ziggy's Deli in Central Islip. He's the one that basically taught me how to do, the salads and everything. That was my first deli job. And he said, the good ingredient, the secret ingredient to a good chicken soup is thyme. So I was like 15 years old at the time, and I said, oh, why? It takes a lot of time. He goes, no, the spice thyme. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just 1 teaspoon of thyme. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of black pepper. See, I like pepper. Actually, I'm only going to put a half. This pepper is, it's not fine. It's big black pepper, so it's a little bit more potent. So that was a half a teaspoon. Now I'm going to take my tablespoon, and I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of chicken base. All right. So we're going to stir this up. Even though this stock will make a really nice, delicious, chickeny, very chicken flavorful broth, I always like to add a little bit of the bouillon just to give it that extra boost. So we're just gonna, see, I have big stalks of celery, and this is all gonna be strained rather. And like I said, I'm gonna let it cook for about 6 hours on simmer. I'm gonna bring it to a boil. And then after it boils, I'm going to cover it and simmer it for like 6 hours. All right, so you got the chicken base, the black pepper, the thyme, the water, and whatever scraps you have in the refrigerator. If you have, I'm going to be putting carrots in, but I have the carrots that are already peeled, like the little ones that I'm just going to cut up. But if I was going to be peeling carrots, I would be cutting off the ends, cutting off the tops, throwing them in. So you want everything in your pot that's going to flavor the stock before you actually make your soup. And when this is all done being simmered for a very long time, then I will strain it, and then I'll show you the rest. All right, till then. Okay, so as you can see, my soup is at a roaring boil. Very, very fast boil. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to lower, and I'm going to put it on low. Low, low, low. Then I'm going to cover it. And I forgot to say before, I put 3 bay leaves in it as well. So the bay leaves are in there, and now I put it on low, and I'm going to cover it. Till later. I wonder if I put this light on up here, if this makes a difference. Oh yeah, at least you could see a little better. Alright, I'll be back. Bye. Okay, I'm back. And right now, while my soup is simmering, I'm going to prepare the carrots and the celery. Now, when cutting carrots or any vegetable, you want to tuck your fingers, under like that so that you do not chop your fingers off, because that would not be a good thing. And you want to take your knife and you want to roll back and forth. So you want to roll, and then as you get to the end, you want to keep moving your fingers back. So again, it's very simple. You could do as many as you want. You want to tuck your fingers under, and you just want to roll. Maybe 3 is good. Same with the celery. I like to put my celery down, and for some reason, I don't know why, but I like to do my celery on an angle. So you're just gonna rock, and as you get down to where your fingers are, you're just gonna move back, and always keep your fingers tucked, because you can slip with the knife, and then you'll be having finger parts in your delicious homemade chicken soup. Now, I did wash the celery, but I didn't wash the carrots. So after I get everything chopped, I'm just going to run it under the water and strain everything. I love celery in soup. I like a lot of celery. Even when I cook certain things, I love celery salt. I use it often. The best thing that I love that I put celery salt on, believe it or not, is a hot dog. You take a hot dog, you make your hot dog, and you, I like it with mustard, sauerkraut, a little bit of relish, and then some celery salt. You really have to try it because it is delish. I kind of got off from doing it on the angle, but that's all right. You could do your celery however you want. And it's always best to chop with a sharp knife. Chopping with a dull knife is actually worse. So you want to make sure you have good knives and that you are chopping with a sharp knife. And I have no white onions, so when my husband comes home from work, he's going to have to pick me up a bag of onions, a bunch of scallions, you know, one bunch, not a whole bunch, and some fresh parsley, because I always like to end my soup with fresh chopped parsley and fresh chopped scallion. So I'm just going to keep this in my lock and lock for now. I'll wash it later, and so that'll keep until I'm ready to add that to the soup. And I'll be back with the next steps. Hi, I'm back. And any part of a good chicken soup is the pasta that goes in it. And that's one of my favorite parts of the soup, besides the celery, because I love celery, is the pasta that goes into it. I was debating on whether to put orzo or regular noodles, which I hate sometimes. I love pastina in soup, but it's too small. My husband doesn't care for that. So I was either going to do the orzo, but I decided to go with alphabets. I had seen these. I haven't seen them in a long time. I found them and I bought them, and they've been sitting in my closet for a while. So I said, I am making chicken alphabet soup today. So, of course everybody knows how to make pasta. But the secret to a good pasta is to salt the water very well. So in this little pot, I have about a tablespoon of kosher salt. I only use kosher salt. I don't even have regular salt in my home. Table salt is exactly what it says, for the table. To salt your food after it's cooked. So whenever cooking, you always want to use kosher salt. But I use that to season my food as well, because I just hate regular salt. To me, it tastes different. I can't explain it. But you always want to salt your water before you do your pasta. And you want to add the salt as soon as it started boiling is when I added the salt. You never want to add the salt before you boil the water, because if you ever notice some of your pots with that little like mark in the bottom of it, well, that's from boiling your water with the salt in the bottom of the pot, and you didn't stir it and it wasn't dissolved. So you always want to add the salt to the boiling water. And if you ever watch any of the cooking shows, you'll see that Rachel Ray and Mario Batali say that your water should taste like the sea. I don't like it that salty, but you can tell there's salt in the water. And the reason for that is that's the only time when you're cooking the pasta that you get to flavor the pasta. So if you were to make a pot of spaghetti with no salt, and then make a pot of spaghetti with salt in the water, and you tasted both of them separate, you would definitely taste the difference in the pasta. So if you're using, say if you're just going to toss your pasta with, say, some grilled chicken and a little bit of olive oil and some tomatoes, you want to flavor your pasta so that it's not dull tasting. I tend to flavor all my pasta no matter what I'm doing with it. I just think it tastes better. So that's the reason why you salt the water, is because that's the only chance you're going to get to flavor your pasta. So that's a little tip. Now you're probably wondering, why am I cooking pasta on my induction cooktop? Well, as you can see, it started boiling over, and I boil over pasta every time I make it. It's ridiculous how I cannot even cook pasta. So instead of getting that big mess all over my brand new stove, I choose to cook certain things on here. Like I'll make Greg's egg sandwiches on here so I don't splatter the grease all over there. And so I just keep this here in the corner, and I pull it out all the time. I use it every day instead of using my stove with certain things. So I'm just going to let this cook. And I was looking for my spoon because I'm weird. All right, you can call me a mental patient. But I have to eat soup with a certain spoon. If I don't, then it doesn't taste right to me, even if it's delicious. So this is your normal spoon, right, that I'm stirring the pasta with. That's your normal spoon. I hate eating soup with a spoon like this. My spoon has to be round. Now this is pure silver, that's why it looks tarnished, but I actually use this spoon all the time. I have a whole set of these, but I just keep one out, the rest are in my hutch. But see how it's round, and that's more like a egg shape? I have to eat soup with a round spoon. It was years ago that I was in a Chinese restaurant, and they served the soup, the first course, with a ceramic spoon, like a pot, like this, ceramic, or whatever you want to call this. I guess it's porcelain, ceramic, whatever. And it was like a big oblong. And I loved eating the soup with that spoon so much, even though it wasn't round, it was ceramic, that I took them all off the table and stole them. So the person I was with was like, what are you doing? I said, I've never seen spoons like this, and I have to have it. The soup was so delicious because of the spoon, and people thought I was nuts. It's just something, I can't explain it, and call me a mental patient. So when I eat my soup later, I will either eat it with this, which is actually the teaspoon from my my little rooster over there, my measuring spoons, or I'll eat it with this round one. So either one of these, that's what I eat my soup with. Call me crazy, but that's how I roll. So anyhow, I'm going to let this cook and be back later. Okay, so my soup has been simmering for about 5 hours, and I'm now going to transfer everything that's in the pot, the solids, into my platter, so that when it cools down, I can pick through it and add all the chicken to the soup. So I'm just gonna get my little strainer here. And everything's gonna go in here. And then later I can drain it more and get more of the juice back into the pot, but I'm not worried about that right now. I'm just worried about getting everything out. And whatever I can't get out with my little strainer here, I will use a slotted spoon. It smells delicious already. And I think I'm going to run to the store before I start cooking this and get the onions and everything, because I don't want to wait for my husband to come home with the onions. I want to cook everything now so everything's done when he gets home. And see this garlic? I'm going to scrape that garlic out because it's so nice and soft, and I'm going to add that back to the pot later, and it's going to give it a nice flavor. All right. So let me get my slotted spoon. Oops. And just get out whatever might be left. I think that's the hiney. That's the hiney. Yuck. My Uncle Ian loves the hiney, like on the turkey and all that. If he's with us for Thanksgiving dinner, he wants the neck, the gizzards, the hiney, all the disgusting parts that normal people don't eat. That's what he wants to eat. So be my guest and take it. Otherwise it goes to the cats. Now as you can see, considerable amount of liquid is out of the pot. So I'll add some more water to make more soup. And add a little more bullion. I just want to make sure all the bones are out, like these little pieces of onion and chicken, that can stay in there. I just and you want to get out the tomato skins. But basically at this point you just want to make sure that all of the bones are out. which that looks pretty good. All right, let me get rid of this. Now, I did rinse before the celery and the carrots. So I'm just going to add that to my pot. And there's still so much juice left in this dish here that I'm definitely gonna add that to the soup. But I think I'm gonna run to the store and get my scallion and my parsley and my onions and clean up a little bit. And then I will be back with my final soup. That is all goodness right there. Delish. Hi, I'm back, and I thought I'd spare you the boringness of watching me spook the bones and put all the chicken and everything into the soup. But I did run out and get the onions, so I chopped the onions just like I did the celery and the carrots. I showed you how to do that. Made the soup. I did add some more water, so I added another 1.5 tablespoons of the chicken base. And when I eat my soup, I always keep the pasta on the side. Never ever cook your pasta in the soup because it blows up, it absorbs all your liquid, and it gets very mushy. So whenever I make soup, even at the convent, for the sisters, I always keep the pasta on the side. This way you can heat up the soup as much as you want, and you'll never have that bloatingness of the pasta, and it won't absorb all your delicious stock that you worked all day on. So I put my soup in my tureen because this will actually stay hot for a very long time. And I'm just going to show you how I like to plate it up. But I'll give you a quick view on how beautiful. With all the carrots and the celery and the onions and the chicken. And you got the flavor from the garlic and the bay leaf and the thyme. And the black pepper. I never add salt to my soup because the pasta I cooked with salt in the water. And the bullion also actually has enough salt. So never ever put salt in your soup until you plate it up. And if you feel you want a little salt, then by all means. But never add it to your stock. So I'm just going to plate up a bowl. And I always like to eat my soup with garnishes. So what I'll do first is... Oh, and I found my other little round spoon. This is one of my favorites. I usually use this spoon when I'm just eating broth. And see how totally round it is? This is like one of my favorite spoons. So I'm just going to take a little bit of pasta. I did rinse my pasta because I don't like it to be starchy. So you want to rinse your pasta after you make it. Put a little in your bowl. Then you want to add your soup. Sparky, why are you crying, my baby? Mommy already fed you, pussycat. See how beautiful? Then, at the end, a lot of people add their parsley and their scallion to the soup as it's cooking, and the flavor just goes away. So then I hit it with a little bit of fresh parsley. And I hit it with a little bit of green onion. And you wouldn't believe the way it wakes up. Like, it just brings such a freshness and a brightness to the soup. I love fresh chopped parsley and scallion in all of my soups. And I do it when I serve it. I do not cook it in the soup, because then it loses all of its really nice, bright, fresh flavor. So there you have it. Arlene's homemade delicious chicken soup. And I'm going to try to make like one video a week on things that I cook. I had a few people asking me and calling me all the time. How do you make this? How do you make that? How do you do this? How do you do that? My niece Danielle just called me this morning and was like, I'm going to make corned beef and cabbage in the crock pot. How do I do it? How long do I cook it for? Blah, 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 blah. So next time I make corned beef, I'll do a tutorial on that. Another tip I have for you was this bread. It's still like frozen in the middle a little bit, but it's defrosting. But if you ever have Italian bread and, you know, it's just me and Gregory. So this half of a loaf of Italian bread was left over from last week when I made an Italian meal. Well, I freeze it that same day. You can't leave it out overnight and freeze it the next day. It's not going to be the same. So whenever you have Italian bread that you buy fresh that day from the bakery, whatever you don't use, wrap it in saran wrap, put it in your freezer. It could stay in the freezer for up to like 2 months. Take it out, let it thaw out a little bit, cut it with a serrated knife. And I actually just cut that bread with this knife because you want to use a serrated edge knife to cut your bread because you don't want to squish it. And it is exactly like it was the day you bought it. Still crunchy. Like I said, it's still a little frozen in the middle, but nice and soft. So I'm going to cover that with saran because it's only 3:30. And Greg will be, you know, home by like 5 or 5:30. But I'm going to cover that with saran wrap so it doesn't get stale. But that's what you do with your leftover bread. You have to freeze it that day. Then take it out whenever you want to use it. And it's exactly like the day when you bought it. If you freeze it the following day, it's not going to work. I don't know why, but it doesn't. So I'm going to try my soup. What I do with my spoon? Oh, it's in the pasta jar. Let's see how this tastes. Oh my God. So delicious. I could taste the thyme. The broth is perfect. Perfect from the chicken flavor, from all the chicken in here. I like pepper. I would probably add a little bit more black pepper. I hate mushy vegetables in soup. Carrots are tender, yet not mushy. Delicious, perfect. And I love the flavor that the fresh parsley and the scallions give to it. Delicious. All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed my silly long video on how to make homemade chicken soup. I will definitely be making some more if you're interested. But I figured everybody loves chicken soup, and today's a rainy, disgusting, horrible, rainy day. So what better than to have a nice hot bowl of soup and some crusty Italian bread on a rainy day. So let me just cover my little toppings here. So they're fresh when Greg gets home. I got to cover the bread. And there you go. I'm just going to add a little bit of parsley for this for color, just for the video. So it looks pretty. And I want to thank you all for watching. And I hope you make this recipe. And how do you say that? Bon appetit. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. I don't know. I didn't take French in school. Bon appetit. I think that's the way you say it. Anyhow, what do you want, Sparky? My cat's being annoying right now. Anyhow, please like my video. Please subscribe to my channel. And I'm going to finish my delicious soup. I wish everybody a blessed day. And get in the kitchen and be creative with your food. And enjoy and cook great meals for your family. Okay. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'll be back next week with another recipe. See you later. Potato. Bye.